Hello, everyone, and welcome to our latest online event here at the University of California, Merced. I am the e-recruiter here. My name is Ricky Hill. You may have seen me here before. These are always such fun events to welcome you to, and we're so thrilled to have you back with us for another episode focused on the SJV Prime Plus BS to MD pathway. While we go ahead and get started, what I would like to do is go ahead and launch a poll. And you all can take a moment and kind of read through these questions. There's just a couple there for you. So if you can take a second, that would be great. While we do have that poll posted, let me go ahead and give you a couple of quick reminders about Zoom. If you need to adjust your audio settings, you can do that in your lower left corner of your screen. If at any time you would like to zoom into something, because we will be sharing a demonstration with you this evening, you can click on View Options in the upper portion of your window. Of course, we also have the live question and answer available for you this evening. We're going to share quite a bit of information with you tonight, so keep your smartphone handy. If you see a QR code, you can go ahead and scan that, and also feel free to take some screenshots along the way. But of course, if you have any additional questions, go ahead and click on the Q&A button. Send in those questions. We are fully staffed behind the scenes with our content experts, so we are so excited to get to those questions for you tonight. That way you get everything answered. You will be completely ready to go for this application for the SJV Prime Plus BS to MD pathway application. At this time, I'd like to go ahead and hand things over to my friend Noreen. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's go ahead and get started.
Thank you, Ricky. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining our webinar tonight. Some of you may have attended the SJV Prime Plus overview. And again, this is the application workshop. In terms of what we are covering today, we are going to be doing a quick description on SJV Prime Plus, just to remind ourselves of what this application is for. And the entire rest of the webinar will be regarding the application itself, to include a live demo. And please continue to ask your questions. We will do live questions towards the end after reminders. So first and foremost, the SJV Prime Plus BS to MD pathway is a workforce development program. And the specific initiative is to train future doctors for the San Joaquin Valley, Central California. It is an 8-year, 12-student cohort where students will receive their MD degree from UCSF School of Medicine after receiving their Bachelor of Science from UC Merced and completing all clinical training at UCSF Fresno. When we reference SJV Prime Plus counties, we're referencing 9 counties shown here, from San Joaquin County at the north, all the way to Kern County in the south. Now, as a reminder, the focus of this workshop is about SJV Prime Plus, which is the current and only option regarding Prime programs where high school seniors can apply for this 8-year pathway. I will be highlighting 2 more pathways in case this is not an option or you want more flexibility regarding the scenario you are in academically or what you want to pursue professionally. So the second option is, to make sure that is on your radar, is the SJV Med Bridge program. This is for students who are at a partner community college to receive 1 year of support with medical exploration, transferring to the university, and then support with application to medical school. I'm highlighting this because of questions that normally get asked about being ready for completing an AA degree or an AS degree while finishing dual enrollment in high school, and that might be an option, or because of finances or not wanting to jump in the university right away, SJV MedBridge might be a consideration. In terms of the traditional pathway, where someone completes their BA or BS and then applies to medical school, SJV Prime has always been the traditional option regarding San Joaquin Valley. This is for anyone wanting to go complete BA or BS somewhere else, or they can come to UC Merced and apply to medical school during their spring of their junior year and completing application process through the summer and fall of their senior year. Again, these are just 2 highlights so you can compare the difference between our program, and we'll spend all of our time tonight on SJV Prime Plus. The reminder is you apply as a high school senior, you start at UC Merced for your bachelor's program, you finish that, and then you finish the rest of the clinical training at UCSF Fresno. It is a 4-year BS degree plus the 4 years MD degree. Students will actually stay at UC Merced during that 5.5 year to start their medical school training with us in the new medical education building opening in the fall of 2026. Reminder again, this program is intended for someone to complete their Bachelor of Science and their MD degree after 8 years. So the actual offer itself, actual offers made to students is a financial award dependent on their individual applications, priority registration for these students in the core coursework for their degree, as well as their pre-med requirements. Students living on campus live on the pre-med floor, and no MCAT is required in terms of getting to medical school or before medical school. Along with the UC offer for admissions, you'll also receive a UCSF School of Medicine offer, conditional acceptance, on the condition of successfully completing the bachelor's program. And then throughout the 8-year journey, it's community engagement, volunteerism, research, clinical observation, and mentorship. So the application components itself, there's 4 different phases to this. The first and foremost is the UC application itself. The UC application is required because the UC degree is being awarded, bachelor's degree is being awarded from the UC. This UC application needs to be submitted by November 20th in order to receive the supplemental application link for SJV Prime Plus. The second component of the application is the SJV Prime Plus supplemental questions, 6 of them, which are already posted. And then the third component you would submit are 2 letters of references and recommendations. Each of these components, 1, 2, and 3, should help the committee to learn more about you and your vision and your planning and your goals towards becoming a doctor. And then step 4, we invite students to interview. Next. So in terms of how to actually continue the application process, once you open the UC application, you have to hit UC Merced as one of the campuses to review your application because SJV Prime Plus is at UC Merced. Of the qualifying majors for this program, you would have to choose any of these 4 majors: biological sciences, chemistry, engineering, or public health, and any of the yellow or mustard colored bulleted points, which are the degree tracks. These that are colored in the mustard colored degree tracks are the ones that have been approved by the School of Medicine as lining up exactly to the requirements for medical school without adding more time to the 4 years of the bachelor's program. Now, the technical side to making sure you actually select the major on the application is, this is a sample of someone who chose developmental biology as one of the options for UC Merced, but this applicant will not get the supplemental application link because they did not choose the major that said Prime Plus. As another example, this one gets a little more trickier for some folks because sometimes they'll just stop at public health BS, and we do remind people that this is going to be a Bachelor of Science degree, but we need the student to mark SJV Prime Plus pre-med emphasis in order for the system and the computer to send you the supplemental application link. Again, the person on the right will not receive any more communications from SJV Prime Plus because they did not pick the correct qualifying major. Now, at the end of the UC application is primarily PIQs, which are personal insight questions, short answer responses. And the UC PIQs are 8 questions and listed there thematically, where a student chooses 4 to respond to. The reminder for the supplemental application is it is like the PIQs, where you would respond with 350 words or less, but these are the different thematic questions besides one that is familiar or similar, which is overcoming challenge or overcoming hardship. And these themes are most important to the School of Medicine. And again, this is like PIQs where you would respond with 350 words or less. But reminder is this audience is the School of Medicine audience, medical pathway audience. These are clinical physicians, doctors, medical researchers, or medical faculty. And again, these responses are due on December 3rd. Continuing on with the PIQs, just as a reminder, in terms of tips, you should be foregrounding yourself in your responses And if you're telling stories or narrations about a context that you are in or a story that you are in, if it's too much of the story or other people and you are in the background, then you're going in the wrong direction. Again, we don't want the 350 words to be details about something else and you are in the background. The entire point of supplementals and PIQs is to know more about you. So treat these questions like interview questions. If they were to be asked of you in person, how would you answer? Answer directly and clearly, and no need to do citations, no need to do definitions of things. Again, just respond with how someone could learn more about you in any of these thematic questions. And as a reminder, these supplemental questions are already posted on our website. There are 6 questions, same questions as last year. And you would be sharing your responses and then highlighting experiences and evidence from your application that tie into explaining who you are in those experiences. The letters of recommendation specifically, those are due December 3rd. You would submit 2 names and emails in the portal, and the computer system will actually send the link to your recommenders. You are not uploading letters from your recommenders, from your teachers, from your counselors or your instructors. We seek those out directly from your recommenders, okay? At least one of them must come from a STEM instructor for obvious reasons. Medical program and medical school is very STEM heavy and STEM related. And you should choose those who really know who you are. And when I say know who you are, they're sharing things about you that we can't easily find on a transcript or, that we wouldn't have to interpret or deduce in terms of trying to figure out who you would be as a medical student or a future doctor. And for this year, you can actually have up to 5 names and emails to submit, but we will only read the first 2 that come in submitted. Now, some common issues regarding the letters of recommendation. One of the biggest things to be careful about and to make sure and avoid is incorrect emails. Some school districts do have the .edu suffix at the end, but sometimes it's actually .net, .org, or .com. When people are looking for the link and your recommenders don't know how to submit, those emails have actually gone to the junk or spam folder. And some districts actually have strong firewalls. So I've had to work with some instructors where they gave their personal email instead. So you should be talking these things out with your recommender now. Give them a heads up that you are submitting their name and email for this program and to write a letter on your behalf. And then again, the reminder is you'll be able to submit a maximum of 5 contact names and emails, but we will be reading the first 2 that get submitted. And more of this is going to be shown on the live portal with the timestamps and status of each of the components of this application. Now, we're going to highlight letters of recommendation here with a little bit of caution. We've been reciting in several webinars and even presentations at your school, et cetera, and on our flyers that December 3rd is the next important deadline besides the November 20th. And the caution is that if you submit your supplemental questions by December 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, you have given your recommender 0 time to actually complete their portion of the application. Again, it takes 3 to 5 business days after the UC application is received in order for us as a campus to send you the supplemental application link. One of the first things you should do after you've been able to log into the portal is submit those names. Don't wait until all of your 6 responses are ready and done. You should submit the names so your recommenders have more time to work on your recommendation. So you see the note on the bottom. If you want your recommenders to have at least 2 weeks to complete the letter of rec, you should actually consider submitting your UC application around November 12th. But again, by November 20th, the UC application should be submitted, and that should give your letter of recommender at least a week or roughly a week to complete their portion. Next, for those that that get invited to interview, this is estimated to be February for the interviews. Email notices will go out the end of January, roughly end of January, early February, to be invited to interview. This interview is 30 minutes via Zoom. It is a 3-person panel with each a representative from one of the campuses, UCSF, UC Merced, and UCSF Fresno. For this 30 minutes, be sure to answer the questions, communicate clearly. Nervousness is okay. This is a very kind panel and kind committee. They understand the students get nervous. They're very patient, so just regroup and continue the interview. It's a missed opportunity to not use your full time of 30 minutes. So don't just try to rush out at 5 or 10 or 15 minutes in. Again, they want to know who you are. They want to be able to picture you in the program. They want to be able to picture you in teams and understand who you will be as a future doctor for the Valley. Okay. So you don't have to relist some things that are already on the transcript, or excuse me, on the UC application. They'll already be able to review that. They see all components of the application. There's no need to prove that you know some extra knowledge. Again, no citations or seminar style answers. And then people are sometimes try to make friends with the panelists, and that kind of eats up the 30 minutes or a lot of that time. It should really be focused on you. And again, foregrounding the things that you would bring forth as a medical student and future doctor. So the summary in terms of how to apply, the reminder is the UC application is first. We would need that by November 20th, and you would need to select UC Merced as one of the campuses to review your application, because SJV Prime Plus is at UC Merced. You would choose a qualifying major or track, and then once we receive your application at the campus level, you'll get sent the supplemental application link. The first thing you should do when you're able to log into the portal is type in your name, the names and emails of your letters of recommender. And then everything else must be completed by December 3rd. So I'm going to segue now into the application demo portion, and I'm going to bring in my colleague Sam Chen, and we're going to discuss and show you the steps to actually logging into the portal. So first and foremost, after you have submitted the UC application, it takes 3 to 5 business days for us at the local level at the campus to know that you're applying. Okay. Once we get that, an email will be sent to the email address of your UC application, and that is the supplemental application link instructions. You open that email, and again, check the junk folder or spam folder, but you open that email, it will ask you to create a password. Your username will be the email that is listed on the UC application. And then once you've created that password, there's going to be another email that is instructing you to confirm. And with those 2 confirmations of username and the new password you created, you will be able to log into the system with this bottom left graphic as the sample for the login screen. Okay. And then Sam, I'll switch it over to Sam, and she will show you a live demonstration of the actual dashboard after logging in.
Great, thanks, Noreen. Yeah, so as Noreen said, you'll receive a link in your email to create a SJV Prime Plus account. And once you've created that account and you log in, this is the home page that you'll see. It'll say, welcome to the SJV Prime Plus Supplemental Application Portal. It's a very simple site, and it's designed that way so that you can, submit your responses to the questions. You can come in and enter your reference information, and then also come in here to check the status of your application. Now, just wanted to kind of call out here that on the right, we've also listed some information on some webinars that you can join on how to complete this supplemental application, as well as some additional resources that's about the program and admissions criteria, the questions, etc. So we really want to, you to have all of the information readily available so that you can complete this application. easily. So there's two ways that you can actually get to the supplemental application questions. The first way is just clicking on to this hyperlink here for SJV Prime Plus under my application. Also wanted to call out that the term that you're applying for is 2025. And right now, the status of the application is application started, meaning that you've logged in, you've created your account. So the other way you can get to the application is going to the left navigation bar here and click on SJV Prime Plus, and you'll see that it will expand to three other main navigation tabs: application, document upload, and status. For the purposes of the walkthrough tonight, we're going to just focus on application and status. So to get to the supplemental application, you click on the application tab, and then you're going to click on to the SJV Prime Plus supplemental application questions, and it will take you to this page. And one thing that I want to call out off the bat is this blue save button. This is the only save button on this entire page. So as you're completing your questions, definitely save frequently, save often by going up to the top of the page here and clicking on save. So wanted to call that out. And then the other thing I wanted to call out too is that before you even get to answering the questions, you'll see that there are 4 options here that asks, please select the option that best applies to you. The first statement is, I was born and have lived in the San Joaquin Valley for a significant portion of my life, or for at least 4 years. I have lived and or attended school in one of the 9 counties of the SJV. I have resided in one of the 9 SJV counties for less than 4 years, but have extensive experience within the community. Or I don't meet any of the criteria above here, but I would like to be considered for this program. So that's the first question, is to select which statement best represents your background. So that's the first question. And then also as well, if for example you say, I don't meet any of the criteria above, but I would like to be considered for this program, it's going to ask you to sort of explain your commitment to the San Joaquin Valley if you don't meet any of these criteria. So just wanted to call that out. So after you go through this first section here is what the next question, which is, do you intend to practice medicine in the SJV after completing your medical training? So that's, radial buttons of yes, no, or unsure. And then after that is when you get into the actual questions that I know it has already been published on our website, so I'm not going to go into them in detail, but just a reminder that you have basically for each question, the word count limit is 350 words. And so once you get through to all of these questions, again, please be sure to click save by going up to the top. So that's the supplemental application questions. And to enter your reference contacts, you go to the references tab here. And as Noreen said, the requirement is that you submit 2 completed references. And so on this page here, you can add in your recommenders information, their name, the institution affiliation. If you know their phone number, great, awesome. If you don't, just put NA or do not know, and that's totally fine. And then put their the recommender's email and then reconfirm as well. And then under type, you can select, their relation to you as best fitted to their relationship to you. And then after that, you do have to check this radio button, which basically confirms that you waive the right to review the reference that was completed by your recommender. And then after that, you add click, excuse me, you click this add button to confirm that this is, you know, the recommender information. And then after that, you would complete the next recommender information. And you can add up to 5 recommenders. And the other thing to call out too is that if you will be entering more than 2 recommenders, it is important that you enter all of them at once, because after you've clicked, you know, add to this page, you're not going to be able to come back and add more if you didn't add 5. So that's just something to call out. So after you've answered all of the application questions and you've provided at least 2 references, then you can go to the submission tab here to submit your application to us for review. Now you'll see here that, you know, you've got this alert here that says your application is incomplete. And that's because, you know, I just walked you through the questions. I didn't actually enter any responses to them. And that's why it says it's incomplete. But if you had completed all of the questions here in this tab and you've provided the 2 references, once you click submission here in this tab, then your application will be sent to us for review. The other thing to call out, and just wanted to re-emphasize what Noreen said, is that so all you're required to provide 2 reference contacts here. So if your references have not completed their, you know, written reference to you, you don't need to wait for them to complete the references before you click submit. All you have to do is just make sure that you completed your application questions, entered 2 reference contacts at least, and then you can submit it to us. So just wanted to call that out. Now, I'm going to go to the status here. So after you've completed or after you've submitted your supplemental application and provided the 2 references, you can come here to see, you know, whether, so for example, application submitted, if you had completed those questions, this would say, you know, complete. Letter of references, if you've provided the 2, it would basically indicate that you provided the 2, but we're still waiting for the reference letters to be completed. So that's why you see not received. And then at the very bottom row here is when you have completed all of the questions and we've received your references and they've completed, you know, their portion of the application, then that's when you'll see that the application status here for application complete is complete. So, so that's essentially, you know, a very brief summary of this supplemental application portal. And then you can also log back in frequently to check, you know, how your status is going with the application after you've submitted it. So that is basically a very brief walkthrough of the supplemental application portal. And with that, I'm going to hand it back to Noreen.
Thank you, Sam. I'm going to resume with some quick highlights of what Sam had shared. Continue to ask your questions. We'll still do Q&A at the end. So the reminder is, once you are in the portal, there are 2 ways to access the supplemental application, either through the left menu or the SJV Prime Plus hyperlink. The first portion of the supplemental questions, once you open that page, is your ties to SJV. You would indicate one of the 4 radio buttons as your response, and then use the optional field to describe more. In terms of adding letters of rec, names, and emails, this particular view and screenshot here is showing a list of 2 recommenders. And again, if you don't know the reference's phone number, go ahead and add NA or I don't know. And the thing to notice here is that it shows you when a request has been sent to your recommender in terms of asking for that reference. And then it also show you on the right when that person actually submitted. So you could see these views and go back to the portal for that status and go back to talk to your recommender if you notice it has not been completed. Again, all of this would need to be due December 3rd, but we will take the first 2 time-stamped submitted letters of rec. And it is to your benefit to submit 5 if you feel like you need those backups in terms of time or how busy someone is, or you know, someone changed positions, or you didn't get the right email, etc. You have the flexibility to turn it into 2 or maximum of 5, but you should submit all 5 now in the first go around. And then the reminder, Sam showed you the status. She showed you where it was not completed. This is an example of a screenshot where a student has completed all components of the application and it is ready. It is ready to be reviewed. Now, what we didn't go through, but this is just a FYI for those who get invited to interview. Interview invitations will go out by email, and then the student will be instructed to go back into the portal to select their interview date and time. This menu dropdown is only going to be available to the students who've been invited to interview, and it will be added on the left menu bar. Once that date and time has been selected for interview, the portal will tell you that you're confirmed for that date. And then if we had additional information regarding the interview, it would be listed in those tabs. Now we're going to move on to some general information regarding being an ideal candidate for the program. First and foremost would be academic rigor is what we're going to be looking for regarding coursework, classes in STEM, and your grades to give us indication that you'd be able to make it through the medical school academic program. Next would be demonstrating some focus and attention, dedication to something personal, academic, or extracurricular. This is an 8-year program, so we want to see that you can keep focused with something over time. And then the last 2 is focused on San Joaquin Valley, that you actually have direct experience, direct knowledge, direct participation, direct research, direct engagement with the communities here, especially related to medical or health for those at risk or in need, and that you're committed to becoming a physician and a doctor here in San Joaquin Valley in any of those 9 counties. In terms of the application process, we do remind people that it is a blind review. Sometimes it gets missed by applicants, but I'm going to highlight here, when we consider applications to be in blind review, the hidden personal information of that student is not available to the readers and reviewers. When I say personally identifying information, it is parameters of name, age, ethnicity, gender, language, etc. Those are hidden. So when it comes to responding to the PIQs and the supplemental, you should be giving responses that, you know, share something about you, and you're basically putting your identity back into the application through those narratives. And it's not that you're giving parameters of your identity, but you're explaining who you are because of those parameters, if it's important to you and important to how you think, how you see the world, or how you feel and are when you interact with others. So you're going to make visible what is invisible on the application. Again, your attitude, behavior, motivation, demeanor, critical thinking. You're going to put your personality back into the application, again, and those identities that are important to you and how you've engaged with the world and how you were in these experiences. It's important for you to introduce yourself to us in the UC PIQs and supplemental. You know, if you want to do that through a story, then you tell us that story. But again, you are the main character of that story, not everyone else or the story itself. You're going to help the committee members and the reviewers picture you in our setting at the university, at the medical school, and in San Joaquin Valley. That's what you're trying to do. And so what happens is high school students do a really great job of telling us what they're doing now and what they've done in the past, but you'll have to be a little more thoughtful about the 350 words, and that you'd still have to use some of the 350 words to help us imagine and help what you're thinking in terms of your future self, your future as a medical student, your future as a physician for the San Joaquin Valley. Again, a completed application is to respond and again say what you're doing, but it's not just what you're doing. We want to know who you are. And so in the context of your lived experience through either personal life or school or even employment, you are sharing with us the meaningful experiences that shaped how you think and how you see the world and how you see yourself. So in terms of reminders, as we head towards the latter part of this presentation, just wanted to remind all of you, November 20th is the deadline for the UC application in order for you to receive the supplemental application link. All responses and letters of rec are due on December 3rd. In terms of the year and what it could look like, after turning in the UC application and completing the supplemental and letters of rec, applications will be reviewed. We invite people to interview end of January, early February. February, we will hold interviews with the expectation to complete and send out notifications by March. April is when students start visiting all the schools that they've been accepted to. We would host our Bobcat Day on April 19th, which is our open house, and students and families would meet all the other students and families that got offered the Prime Plus program, see if you want to join, meet the faculty, meet the other cohorts, and then commit by May 1st. And if you needed a reminder on instructions on how to apply, the flyer itself will have it on the back of the PDF. You can download the flyer on this button after the video on the landing page. And there's also frequently asked questions if you had more questions about the program. And there's hyperlinks as well on how to apply on our website. And the reminder is we will continue to do 2 more webinars for the application. Any additional webinars, not just for Prime Plus, will be listed in the future events page. And these are the locations to get to those schedules. And then again, I have 2 more application workshops towards the end of the month in October and a final one in early November before the deadline date. This will be recorded for you to be able to reference back. But if you want to talk to somebody and ask your questions live like this, then you can attend as many of these workshops as you want. And we are at the end of our presentation. This is a reminder of the email and phone number if you had additional questions. And I'll hand it over now to Q&A. Ricky.
We are now going to hop into our live question and answer session. We have so many coming in. If you haven't yet sent those in, now is your chance. Click on the Q&A button and get that over to us, and we will include it in this section of our broadcast tonight. So the first one that we have, what is conditional acceptance at UCSF?
When we offer a student UC Merced admissions that offer Prime Plus, that offer is also going to include conditional acceptance to UCSF School of Medicine. It is a conditional acceptance based on successful performance and successful completion of the 4 years of the bachelor undergraduate program. Now, that's not just completing the degree itself, but every Prime Plus scholar is assessed every year in our program. They're required to see their pre-health advisor every semester, and you're not just completing the degree, but you're preparing for the career. So that will include professionalism. It will include guidance from mentors on your physician identity. It will include assessment regarding how you performed in the clinical sites in terms of community engagement and so forth. So it's not just finishing the degree, but it's preparing to enter the profession and medical school. So the condition is they have held your spot in the School of Medicine, and it'll become a regular admission to the School of Medicine the senior year of the undergrad program.
Perfect. And what are the main things that we are looking for in their application?
I've reviewed that, and you'll be able to get this on the replay. But the four main parts that were highlighted was academic rigor in the coursework that you've completed now in high school, especially regarding STEM. So it's not just completing the A through G requirements, but if you've exceeded the A through G requirements, that's an example of showing us academic rigor, along with AP courses, dual enrollment. Again, these aren't requirements more than just examples of opportunities for those that had it at their school. Keeping up with, again, the academic coursework that you have, but you can show your intellectual curiosity in other aspects as well regarding extracurricular and clubs, or even personal commitments that you have in your community or your church or your local nonprofit, or some people are already connected to some sites or clinics and have been volunteering. Again, there's many different ways to show your competitiveness as a candidate. Besides academic rigor, we look for the extracurricular, and then that engagement is done in the San Joaquin Valley, and then your commitment to the San Joaquin Valley.
Excellent. And then for the letters of recommendation, the one that is non-STEM, does that need to come from another type of teacher?
No, at least one of them is the instructor, and it's the STEM instructor, but other types of recommenders have been employers, coaches, counselors, mentors. As long as they're not a family member or a personal friend. Again, we want people who have witnessed you in these different settings where you've had some great accomplishments and achievements or great learning and growth. So it does not have to be another instructor, but it can be.
Great. And another follow-up to letters of recommendation. So this one is coming in and they're asking that they upload 5 letters, but we only read 2. Are they understanding that correctly?
That's correct. You have the ability and choice as a student to submit 5 names and emails. If all 5 recommenders submit a reference for you from the timestamp, we will only choose the first 2 that come in.
Very good. That question has come through several times. So if anyone is hearing us answer that, but you have something a little bit different, feel free to send in a follow-up to that. The next question has to do with the interview process. So will they be given those questions in advance?
No, interview questions will not be given in advance. It is the email invitation to interview will give instructions on how to follow up with scheduling the interview. It gives tips on a Zoom interview, as well as contact information if you had questions. The questions for the interview will not be posted, but it will be a standard interview, and all students will get the same questions out of fairness and equity.
Very good. And then I don't know if we have this information to actually release, but is there a set percentage of applicants that we actually do accept during each cohort?
Ask that question again. I'm sorry.
Is there a specific percentage of applicants that we accept into our program each time?
Well, the number is 12 minimum students per cohort. We've been able to accept 15 per cohort. So it's not a percentage I'm giving you. It is that we have 12 to 15 spots in each cohort. We are currently looking for our 3rd cohort.
Fantastic. And then when do they need to be sending in transcripts? Is there a different timeline for this program?
The transcripts is related to the UC application. And so that will be the same for every UC applicant. And that final transcript will be submitted electronically by July 1st, with more instructions after a student has submitted their CER or their statement of intent to register.
Very good. And now this one also is pretty popular during these SJV Prime Plus events that we've been having. If they don't make it into the BS to MD pathway program, are they able to still attend UC Merced and just select a different major?
Yes. So there are 2 offers in March. One is your UC offer of admissions, and one is the Prime Plus. offer or no offer or wait list. If someone does not get into Prime Plus, your UC admissions offer stands. That does not get removed or relinquished or get canceled. So you would be deciding on UC Merced admissions and proceeding with that major, not necessarily in a Prime Plus cohort, or you could change your major later on, or that process is there available during explanation during summer orientation or your first quarter, first semester into the program as a freshman. So yes, again, Prime Plus is only 2 years old. So before Prime Plus has ever existed, we have always had pre-med students attending UC Merced.
And then also touching a little bit more on the waitlist process, what happens to the students who are on the waitlist? Are they waiting for someone else to maybe not accept the offer and then they get to bump up?
Yes, that's exactly what happens. So if by chance we don't have 15 students that serve by May 1st, then we'd continue to go to the wait list to get to that 15. It's completely possible that 15 students do, sir, and accept their offer, but then something comes up in the summer and something has changed. So to a student moved from the wait list to an actual offer, if you had served to a different UC campus, you lose that deposit, and you would then sir and pay the fee to accept the offer given to you here at UC Merced for Prime Plus.
Great. And then is that offer binding, or do they have an option to opt out?
I guess I'm not going to use the word binding, but I will say there are 2 things that need to be completed to accept your offer. One is to complete the statement of intent to register, which is the SIR. And then the second, you have to sign a contract, and it's a UCSF contract that says, I agree to complete the 8-year program, and I want my spot in medical school. And so that is the contract, and that's the one that is given before a student starts with Prime Plus.
Wonderful. And then going back to the supplemental application, when does that come out? When are students able to access that?
If you are a student, if you're a student that submits right now, this first week of October, that UC application is still sitting at the UC level, and we don't know yet as a campus that you are one of the Prime Plus applicants. So there is a 3 to 5 day turnaround before we as a local campus will know that you're a Prime Plus applicant. And so that is that turnaround time. After someone submits the UC application, it takes 3 to 5 business days for us as a campus to know you're a Prime Plus applicant, and then the supplemental link will be sent to you. So please consider that 3 to 5 day cushion when you are making sure you make it by the November 20th deadline or the December 3rd final deadline for responses and letter of rec.
Very good. And then going back to that application as well, do the reviewers, do they get a chance to see the original UC PIQ questions, or only those on the supplemental?
They will see every component. They will see the UC application, the supplemental questions, and your letters of rec.
Excellent. Now diving into more questions regarding the interview process itself, they're asking a little bit about who will actually be interviewing them, doctors or admissions recruiters?
So in the 3 panelist interview via Zoom, there will be a representative from each of the campuses, from UCSF, UC Merced, and UCSF Fresno. They are all physicians, doctors, medical faculty, health researchers, medical researchers, and they could be academic researchers that are the experts in San Joaquin Valley, or regarding medical or health issues of San Joaquin Valley populations. So again, they're representatives of each campus, experts in their field, either clinical or research.
Perfect. And then the actual questions that they will be asked, will those be mostly just getting to know the applicant, or will they be more technical medical type questions?
No one is going to get quizzed on the interview how much you know about medicine or how much you know about STEM and science. You should feel comfortable with regular interview questions about getting to know who you are. That's about all I can say right now. I don't think I'm allowed to reveal the types of questions that will be asked.
Very good. And then do we have a set number of applicants that we expect to invite for interviews?
Those statistics we can't reveal.
Very good. That has been a popular question tonight. And how many questions will be asked? Is it a set amount?
Enough to complete 30 minutes. Historically, some people have used all 30 minutes, and historically, some people have only used 10 or 15 minutes.
Very good. And then now, if someone is already attending UC Merced as an undergrad, but they're not part of SJV Prime Plus, will the new medical school that is opening for additional students be beyond the 15 cohorts? That's kind of a lot of information in that one.
So to be more precise with your question, and what I think you're asking is, can an undergrad student get into the program or start medical school in that building? The answer is no, because the actual School of Medicine is UCSF. They are the degree granting institution for the MD degree. So UC Merced has a medical pathway, which is Prime Plus. We will have a medical building, which will be open in the fall of 2026. But we will not be a fully accredited standalone medical school until more iterations of cohorts complete the medical program. So there is no entry into medical school just because the building is built.
And what about dual enrollment classes? Do we look at those differently for this program? Are they accepted?
No, yes, dual enrollment classes are accepted, just like AP credit, AP courses, college credit, community college credit. The important part for us about dual enrollment is that you are a high school student. Okay, you're not a community college student and a freshman somewhere else right now, or that would make you ineligible. But yes, dual enrollment is part of the process in terms of submitting those courses on your UC application. For somebody who's been admitted to UC Merced, that would get reviewed by your academic advisor in terms of lining up things needed for your degree program.
Very good. And then are they required to complete the MCAT for this program?
Prime Plus scholars will not have to complete the MCAT at all. They would have already been admitted to medical school based on that conditional acceptance. The MCAT is a requirement. If you come to UC Merced as a regular undergraduate student who pretends to be pre-med and apply to medical school the spring of their junior year, the MCAT would be required for regular medical school applications.
Very good. And then what about financial aid? Is there any type of support for this program?
So when the offer comes out, in the past, we've had the UC Merced admissions offer combined with the financial aid in that letter. I think because of last year, those have been separate announcements and notices. So any financial aid offer in March will be the undergraduate portion of this the BS degree program. Any financial aid offer to medical school won't come into consideration until someone's senior year or before they're about to start medical school, the 5th year of the 8-year program.
Great. And then we know the idea of this program is to create doctors that will stay in the San Joaquin Valley. So is there a certain number of years once they graduate that they're required to stick around in this area?
So there isn't a number of years that we are requiring. The requirement is that you are looking for a residency opening in the field you want to get into and the department you want to get into, and that those are residency openings in any of the 9 counties.
Very good. And then what about study abroad? I know sometimes we get that question as well. Is that an option for students who are in this program?
Yeah, that's a question we get asked a lot. I'm sure it won't be the last time it gets asked. So the way that this gets treated in terms of anything extra, so let's say a double major, another minor, another experiential learning opportunity like study abroad, it's going to be handled on a case-by-case basis, because the main concern for UCSF School of Medicine and the leadership of Prime Plus is that it doesn't extend your time. It doesn't extend your time for the 4-year degree. It doesn't delay your entry into medical school. Your spot is open that 5th year. And so if again, getting a double major, adding a minor, we encourage that. A lot of our students come in with credit. But the study abroad or something else, if it's going to add more time to the undergraduate program and you miss your entry into medical school that 5th year, I don't think that's going to be approved or encouraged.
Fantastic. And then a couple more questions here. So this one's coming in and they're stating that they want to make sure they're understanding correctly. If they are accepted to the SJV Prime Plus program, that means that they will be earning their bachelor's degree and then have automatic acceptance or admission into the UCSF medical school. Is that accurate?
That's correct. But all of the medical training happens in the Central Valley. Nobody's moving to San Francisco. Okay, so the bachelor's degree is completed at UC Merced. The first year of medical school begins in the new medical education building. All clinical training, clinical rotations, and any part of the curriculum, which is bedside next to patients who are sick, injured, or ill, that happens at UCSF Fresno.
Very good. And how do we determine academic rigor based on their transcripts? How does the committee take a look at that?
I'm not sure how to answer this question besides this. The start would be A through G is what's required to get into the UC. In terms of STEM coursework, we are looking for STEM classes that have a lab, science classes that have a lab. The dual enrollment or AP courses are going to let us know just by workload alone that you have completed successfully. Again, this is the UCSF medical school curriculum. It's public on their website. Is a very rigorous block. We want to see that you'd be able to handle a very busy schedule, continuous after the other in terms of schedule. Included in that is research and community engagement. So yeah, I think that's the way I'll answer that for now.
Very good. One last question here, and then we will just give you an opportunity for some last words. If someone is graduating from high school in the spring, so just the regular graduation time, but concurrently to that, they've also received their associate's degree, how do we look at that? They're still coming in as a high school student who happens to have college units. Does that impact this at all?
If that associate's degree was completed through dual enrollment and they were not a freshman at a first-time freshman at a community college, you are considered a high school graduate, first-year freshman in terms of the UC application you should be completing. If someone completed the AA or AS at a community college where they registered to become a freshman, they are not eligible for this program.
Very good. So just a quick reminder, we will be offering this instant replay here in just about a day or so, and I've dropped over into the chat box. There's a link there where you will find not only the replay links, but also other upcoming events. We did show you that slide a moment ago with all of the upcoming SJV Prime Plus. There it is again. You can scan that QR code or just hop on over to that website using the link in the chat box and get yourself registered, because we, of course, would love to see you again on another event here and get to all of your important questions. Noreen, do you have any final words before we close?
Not at all. Besides, good luck with this process, and continue to ask your questions before deadline date. I normally get students asking a bunch of questions after deadline date that could have already been resolved. So keep asking your questions, reach out. There's plenty of people and resources and webinars like this to help you out.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Noreen and Sam and everyone behind the scenes, all of our content experts who have been helping us out tonight with the questions as they were coming in. We definitely hope to see you again at one of those upcoming events. There's also other ones that are listed on that website. So if you're interested in some of the others that are there, please feel free to RSVP and we will send you your personalized Zoom link. Once again, my name is Ricky Hill and I am your e-recruiter. I hope to see you back here very soon. Until next time, you guys have a great night. Thanks so much for joining.